All right, guys, our next guest is a former UFC middleweight champion, a former Strikeforce middleweight champion, and he was slated to make his return to Submission Radio at UFC Melbourne next week. A friend of the program, it is a pleasure to welcome Luke Rockhold back to the program. Luke, how's it going?
It's going well, guys. Just trying to get on the recovery train.
Yeah, the recovery train can be an annoying train. I'll tell you what's another annoying train. It felt like we were close to getting that dinner reservation for you at Attica. Luke, how disappointed are you that not only are you not going to be fighting at UFC Melbourne, but no dinner in Attica next weekend?
That is the worst part about the whole situation. The funny thing is I obviously I got injured and I had to pull out from the fight, and no kidding, like it was they had no openings or something like that, and then sure enough, the week after, I made it official, they emailed me back saying that, they have an opening that just opened up.
I'm
thinking about flying out just for my reservation.
I mean, that makes sense, right? You gotta honor the reservation. They've got, beautiful food with little flowers on there. Give us the update on the injury, though. I mean, we saw you were in New York last weekend. How's the knee going? How's the recovery train? When do you think you'll be back in the octagon?
Well, I got I've had quite a few assessments of the knee from different doctors, and they, a small bundle is pulled off the ACL at the attachment point. So I'm trying to go through the natural process of healing, which they say is there's a high potential of it reconnecting itself. And so I've done 2 series of PRP shots. I'll probably do a third, and then I might do some stem cells again. I'm trying to do everything I can to avoid surgery. That's key for me, because the ACL, anytime you go into the ACL or orthoscopic or reconstruction, it's a good 12 months, it's a year out pretty much from everything. So I'm told potentially in a couple months it could reattach itself, and then I could start kicking again. It's weird because it feels good in so many ways. But the moment I kick, it feels like my knee's going to fall apart if I'm kicking at full power. So I'm just trying to lay off that, not trying to aggravate it and heal up.
That must be super annoying, because we know you're a tough dude, and a part of you would have thought about fighting with the injury anyway. I mean, how close did you get to just ignoring everybody's advice and just going through with a fight with that injured knee? And how exactly did you injure it?
I did. I tried to work around it for a week or so, and then I knew it was time to test it. I tried to work around it, and if the kick didn't land flush, it would really felt like my knee was going to fall apart. And so I know I need to show up. This is not a time to go out there and have a half-assed performance. And Jacare is no slouch. So I know I needed my left kick my last time out with Jacare, and I know I need it this time. It's my biggest weapon, and not being able to kick is something I kind of dealt with last time. I tried to avoid kicking, and it's certain things you can't work around leading into a fight. I'm definitely one who fought with a lot of injuries, but this is something I couldn't fuck with.
Wow.
I'm gonna get healed up and do what I have to do, work my way back, and just take my time with this. Forgot the second part of the question.
How did you injure it? How did it happen?
How did it happen? I couldn't exactly tell you. I think it was just wear and tear. I just noticed my knee. Like every time I would throw an inside leg kick and it would get checked, there would be, I'd kind of question the stability of my knee. I don't know what was going on. I tried to shake it off, and then one time I really kicked hard, and it was slightly checked, and then it felt loose, and then it swelled up the next couple days, and I just started trying to, then I tried to work around it, then I did one more time, and then I realized I couldn't go forward.
Wow. Are you still interested in fighting Jacare, or will you be looking at sort of a new opponent, maybe the winner of, say, Rashad Evans and Tim Kennedy, or do you think Jacare is still sort of the quickest path to victory and the best path for you?
I mean, given the timetable of what's going on with my potential recovery, and Bisping and Yoel Romero fighting probably not till, February, March. I think that's a good time frame. If I can get in that frame in the March era, that would be perfect for me. Jacare he's the most clear-cut way back to the title. I'm not looking to fight another guy and then have a question mark who gets the next shot. I'm gonna go straight down the throat. I'm gonna get Jacare, finish my business with Jacare, and make no ifs, ands, or buts who's the next in line to get that shot, whether it's Bisping or Yoel.
UFC 205 was a pretty crazy event. We were all there and we saw you were there ringside. So we want to ask you a quick couple of questions because we know you're in a bit of a rush to go to catch a show. What did you think about Romero beating Weidman in that devastating fashion and getting Bisping next? Do you think he deserves the next title shot?
I mean, he's had some decent performances, and Yoel is always dangerous. You can't force and can't rush a fight with Yoel. I knew that, and that's why I wanted to fight him in a 5-round fight. Weidman started forcing the issue in the third round, knowing he was potentially, it was 1-1 scenario, and he paid for it. Yoel's a very explosive guy, and he kept baiting in for that flying knee. He actually was going in for the takedown. So obviously, I think Yoel started timing it. His corner must have called for it or something, but that was a pretty brutal shot, but it was what it was.
Yeah, I mean, even though you and Weidman have sort of had a bit of a rivalry, did you feel a little bit bad for him losing in such brutal fashion in his hometown of all places?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to obviously sit back. I don't mind Weidman that much. He's a nice guy. He's a harmless individual, really. He's for him to take 2 losses in that fashion is pretty tough to see. For anyone, I don't wish no harm on the guy. But the campaigning for that fight in New York, that as long as he did and put it on the line, and to lose in that fashion must be tough.
What are you thinking about this title fight between Romero and Bisping? Do you think Romero beats Bisping pretty handily here, or do you think there's a chance Bisping can hold on to his title against him?
I think it's a rare opportunity for Bisping to pull it off. About as rare as beating me. I think Yoel pretty much goes in there, and it might take a little while, but he'll get to Bisping. Sure enough, I believe. Bisping's a tough individual. He's going to go in there, and he's more technical striker, and Yoel's pretty raw. But I think with the takedown opportunities that he could start throwing Bisping around, it would start changing the pace of the fight.
It's going to be an interesting fight. Another big moment at UFC 205, and something that you'll remember, Khabib's victory over Michael Johnson. Of course, Khabib Nurmagoedov is your teammate and friend. Do you believe he deserves the next title shot? And do you think the UFC would actually make a fight between him and McGregor? I
think there's no if. I mean, it's obvious he deserves the title shot. The kid, I mean, what is he now? 24-0, 25-0. It's ridiculous what he's done and everything. And all respect to McGregor. The guy is legendary. His left hand is just second to none, and his ability is pretty much not in question. Performances, but to say that he is not active enough is it's not fair. It's not fair to Khabib. It's not fair to the MMA world. You need to fight the best guy, and Khabib has proved himself over and over again. He's the one. If you're going to go out there and you got to do it, the UFC can't make McGregor do anything. It's going to be McGregor's choice. So he's got to accept that and make that fight. The war of the worlds kind of thing go down. Brazil. I mean. The Irish versus the Russians. He built it up quite well.
Yeah.
He built it up quite well. I'm not gonna lie. Kid's getting well with his mouth.
Yeah. He was talking to Dana in between rounds, and then he was telling us all that stuff in the back in the media room as well. We were all just thinking it was great. I mean, Michael Johnson had some success on the feet early in the fight, but once it hit the ground, it was all Khabib. And I mean, he had techniques that a lot of people haven't even seen before. Who do you think wins in a fight between him and McGregor if it ever did happen?
McGregor's dangerous. Khabib can't stay on the feet like he did with Johnson.
Right, yeah.
McGregor will put... I've never seen a left hand like that. He can just touch his guys and they wobble. So Khabib is unlike anybody else I've ever grappled with. A 55-pound man that can grapple with me and give me competition. I don't see that. I haven't seen that anywhere, and I know what it's going to be like. If Khabib gets a hold of anybody, it's over. And it's that one shot. It's that striker versus grappler game. If Khabib gets a hold of McGregor, I don't think he's going to last at all. And But the same thing, McGregor, you can't give him that opportunity on the feet. So we'll see. We'll see if the fight takes place. They seemingly are trying to work their way around it, but I think it's a fight that should happen.
Well, you mentioned that they're trying to work their way around it. I think majority of people look at Khabib's record, what he's done, and the way he sold his fight, and say that's the clear-cut number one contender. But McGregor, being the businessman, he's also angling for a welterweight fight potentially against Tyron Woodley. I mean, what do you think about that situation?
I think it's an intriguing matchup, no doubt. We'll see. We'll see what comes. How they make that. I think he's still dangerous. He's dangerous to that division too. I mean, anybody can strike that well, and it seems like his power can translate over divisions pretty well. So I think Tyron's not the biggest guy, at 170, but obviously he's proven to have some trouble in the striking realm with a guy like Wonderboy. So McGregor's going to be in that same realm.
Let's quickly talk about a fight that just happened recently. Gegard Mousasi beat Uriah Hall, sort of scratched that fight off his record. He was on Extra Rounds podcast in the last episode talking about how he wants to fight you next. Do you have any interest in a fight with Mousasi if your knee's healthy and he's ready to go? Or is he someone that you're not really considering because maybe it's not really the quickest path to the next title shot if you do fight him?
Yeah, if I have a guaranteed title shot and I fight Mousasi, sure, why not? I'd love to. I'm not looking to fight the next guy, fight Mousasi, and then have Jacare, try to jump me for that shot. I didn't see his fight. I didn't get to see how it went and what he looked like, but he looked decent. A lot of respect for him. A lot of respect for Mousasi, but I want to get right back at it. I want my title shot.
All right, Luke. Well, we appreciate your time. We got two more questions, and then we're straight out of your hair. Before I let you go, just wanted to find out your thoughts on our own Robert Whittaker, who's now headlining UFC Melbourne just next week. Do you believe he can beat Derek Brunson? And if so, where does a win like that put him in the rankings and in the middleweight division? What do you think?
I think he definitely can beat Brunson. I think it's a good matchup on both ways. I think Brunson's very dangerous. We'll see who's the next, guy that potentially jump into the next, within that realm of the top 5 guys that we have. So, I like a new prospects. They're both solid prospects, and we'll see what comes of it. I don't know. I'm curious to see what kind of a fight it is. If Brunson tries to stand with him more, I think he tries to expose the wrestling and put the full arsenal on him, which I don't believe Whittaker's really faced yet. A guy that can wrestle that good and can strike too. So this is the next level for both.
Yeah, it's going to be an intriguing matchup, and we can't wait. It happens next week. And you're right, new blood in your division would be exciting. Before we let you go, Luke, I mean, you're on the shelf for now. You're fixing your knee. You're on that recovery train. But in the meantime, what's the message? What's the message to the fans, to the UFC, to everybody who's anticipating a Luke Rockhold return?
The message is I'm just trying to get healthy. But you'll know. I'll make my statement when I come back. Whoever I fight, whenever it is, I'll prove that I'm not going nowhere, and I'll be right back here. I'll be right back in the mix. I'll be there to claim my title, no matter who's standing above.
Well, there you guys go. Luke Rockhold. He's on the healing train at the moment, but we can't wait to see him return. Make sure to follow Luke on Twitter at Luke Rockhold. Luke, thanks so much for being on the program. Quickly, what's planned for the holiday season? Christmas is coming up. New Year's is coming up. We know you're a busy man, a man about town. You got some big plans set up?
Not get too fat.
Well, how's this? In the meantime, do you have any modeling gigs? Any covers? We saw you're on the Australian edition of Men's Health. Any other covers you got planned?
I got some other. We're in talks with some big companies about making some moves. We'll see. Nothing's finalized yet, but got some things in the works, no doubt.
All right, well, there you go, guys. Don't forget to check it out at Luke Rockhold and stay on the updates. Luke, again, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Always love having you on the program.
Okay. Enjoy. Have fun next week.